Alright, all you Pinball Wizard challenging gamers out there, welcome back to the Indy Radio Arcade. And now it's time for us to go into a very special Pinball Wizard edition of the $64,000 question. But before we go into that question, folks, we asked you last week for upwards of well over $640,000. Would you, with or without your friends, depending on your level of greed, try to clear out a live-action dungeon of the game Fate? And not to mention a bonus $64,000 for each boss you clear along the way. And several of you out there would sound off by saying the following: how do you expect us to clear a live-action version of that game with that many spiders? Another person would ask, what's Fate? And the last person would say, to my enemy, charge! And would successfully make it all the way down to 30 floors. And to that one person, congratulations! You made it out with well over $512,000 for clearing out that many floors. Good work! And to the other two people, Fate is a computer game that they had for Windows for a certain amount of time that they let people play, where if you cleared a certain amount of floors, you get to checkpoint yourself after every 10 floors. What's a fun game? And to the other person, I don't know, get a big sword and try to take them all out. Best answer I can give ya. And with those questions properly answered, we now go into the Pinball Wizards edition of the $64,000 question. And this question would read as follows: would you, for $512,000, oh boy, try to perform the helicopter death spin spiral trick that was performed during the game Sean Palmer's Pro Snowboarder on a triple diamond slope all before the end of the summer solstice? And as an added bonus, he would add in, if you're able to do this trick with a live soundtrack song from the game itself, we'll double the prize money. Nice! I really didn't expect that from him. But before you answer that question at home, folks, you're gonna have to wait another 2 weeks there, you snowboarding dudes and dudettes, because the maestro's currently rolling out the machines, which means we've gotta bring the Indy Radio Arcade for this week to an emphatic close. But don't worry, if you missed anything from this 8-bit delight we were able to give you for this weekend, we got you covered. Because you can catch this show again one more time, all the time, on our SoundCloud, Facebook, or even Tumblr pages, named the same, only known as MusicVillageRadio under the hashtag Indy Radio Arcade Lvl.112. And as a matter of fact, according to the Pinball Wizard, that's what level skater you need to be to try to pull off that sick trick. Or me, because I do remember that from a video game story. Is that where you got that from? Apparently he said yes. And if you guys want to figure out other crazy and zany things that we still got prepared for this summer of RPG, heading directly into the month of sports, like that challenge that the Pinball Wizard came up with from out of left field, you can go ahead and check it out on our Twitter/YouTube pages, still named the same, only known as Lvl.112. And before we head out for the night, we would like to thank, as always, you, the game show contestants out there, for listening in to another 8-bit RPG month-ending edition of the Indy Radio Arcade. And we would also like to thank you, the independent artists out there, for delivering that musical goodness like you always do. And keep up the great work, guys, because your music inspires us to come up with crazy shows like this. So keep up the great work. And we would also like to thank, last but not least, you, the independent gamers out there, for coming out with all those sweet video game hits and clips that we had a chance to mention during this week's show, along with your high scores. And like we say all the time around here, keep up the great work, keep those high scores coming, and here's hoping next month you're able to beat that score that was in the billions that seemed nearly impossible for people to beat. And I guess with the creepy janitor giving us that look to Van Moose while holding on to the Pinball Wizard's wizard cap, I'm DJ Smokey on behalf of the Mice Show for this summer of RPG for this show saying, when there's smoke, there's fire. And we would like to thank you for playing another magical 8-bit RPG adventure edition of the Indy Radio! Okay. We're finished, man. We're done. Game over, man. Game over. And good night, everybody.
Pt.5